I'm familiar with it, but what is this initiative that you started, and how did it come about?
Sure. So I'm an American living in Poland for 30 years. Happened to live in Krakow, which is about 2 hours from the Ukrainian border. And Ukrainians are really just close neighbors of Poland. They're good friends. We all have Ukrainian friends. I've got 10, 15 Ukrainians working in the Lynka factory. And when this thing started, it was much more personal than most wars and attacks that you see on TV, because it was our neighbors and it was our friends. So as I wrote in the article, a huge number of people just got engaged to help in any way they can, because things like charities and aid agencies, they kind of take months to get going sometimes. Sure. in these tragedies, human tragedies that occur. But the people on the ground are there to help. And so this entire effort started to help. And I could see that the type of help that was needed was going to be different than this institutional help, which are great organizations, whether it's the Red Cross or whatever. They do incredible work, especially in natural disasters and situations. But this was very different. This is a war without warning brought upon a nation, where they're bombing hospitals and schools and residences and stuff like that. And people are hunkered down in bunkers or basements. And then we're hearing that they're not getting food and they're not getting medicine. And we just thought, God, if we wait around for the aid agencies to do their job, it's going to be too late. So this is where this tens, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people started helping out. And there's this entire economy and supply chain has evolved of getting help into Ukraine, which is kind of how the Eastern European countries did things over the years, is just kind of get things done without infrastructure, without money, without whatever. And then I did some social media posting, article I wrote about how this is personal. It's on my LinkedIn page. And a lot of people said, how can we help? How can we help? Then I was talking to Jonathan Isaacson from Gemline, who's an old friend, and he had organized an online kind of podcast interview with both a real distinguished professor from Harvard Business School and other business people from our industry and another industry group called YPO. And then we had some YPO members from Kiev who were there in the bunker talking to us. And after the call, people said, how can we help? How do we get money over to help the Ukrainians? Well, you actually can't send the money into Ukraine because their country's falling apart. Their banks are closed. That's not going to do it. So Poland is touching the Ukrainian border, has a massive border with Ukraine. The reason that of 3 million, this is a couple of days ago, 3 million refugees who fled Ukraine, 2.3 million came to Poland because it's close, the language is similar, and this is the place to come because it's right there. So we realized, both in the business circles I run in our promotional industry and in the YPO, that we're kind of in a unique position and almost exclusive position to provide help on a massive scale for not a small country, because it's 44 million people. It would be the 5th largest country in Europe. So we thought, okay, so the Americans were saying, how can we help? And America is the most generous country in the world when it comes to giving donations. So our charities are so robust because America has very friendly laws to be able to donate to charities. But American companies want to make sure their charities are tax deductible, this 501c3 status. And when we started looking around, we saw that it's not really so easy. There's of course the big global charities, and all the power to them, and they should get money and they should do good things. But this on the ground kind of micro level entrepreneurial help that's needed immediately wasn't being fulfilled. So after talking about it with a few people, including Jonathan and Ira from Vantage, my partner and part owner of Lynka.
And just to clarify, of course, we're talking about Jonathan Isaacson of Top 40 Supplier Gemline and Ira Neiman of Top 40 Supplier Vantage Apparel.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah. We're all friends for a long time. Vantage is now a majority owner of Lynka, and so we're partners. So we were talking about it, and I realized that the missing link is a charitable a legal entity that can take donations from American business individuals. Not so, I mean, it can do the small retail credit card stuff, but it's really built for companies and a little bit larger donations, $500, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 or up. And so that was my project last week. I spent the entire week. I think we did the fastest formation of a charitable fund in history in 4 days.
I was going to say a week. He pulled that together in a week.
4 days. Monday, first call with an organization in Washington called the Charities Aid Foundation, which is basically a platform for Americans to donate, and then they have vetted organizations that they can send the money to, and that would be us as our corporate aid for Ukraine. And so Monday I started, first phone call. I did the American thing. I went onto their website, looked up every one of the directors and tried to find one who went to my college. I couldn't find one, but I did find a guy who went to Bloomsburg, which used to be Bloomsburg State in Pennsylvania, and I went to Lehigh, and they were kind of wrestling rivals. So I wrote to him and said, hey, I'm a Lehigh guy. Can you help me out? And he wrote back to me immediately, put me in touch with the head of fund management, and that guy just held my hand through the whole process, and we did it in 4 days. Friday at 6 p.m., we had a fund, a charitable fund, 501c3, just incredible. And then American Chamber of Commerce, which I was the founder of the American Chamber of Commerce in Krakow in southern Poland and a board member for AmCham Poland for 18 years now. So I'm very tied into the American Embassy and the diplomats and all that. So the circle of friends I have, it's not like the States. It's a pretty small place. Everybody knows everybody, right? And so we knew the right people to call. We had the thing. AmCham, which I'm a board member of, agreed to host the website. It's got reams of credibility. An American ambassador, Mark Brzezinski, rock star in diplomatic circles. His dad was Zbigniew Brzezinski, the national security advisor under Jimmy Carter. He passed away some years ago. An esteemed political diplomat and international scholar is the ambassador. He loved the idea. He gives us the full endorsement. And we're probably going to get the 5 previous U.S. ambassadors to sign on and endorse us publicly as well. So we got reams of credibility. We're here and know the supply chains, the companies, the ways to get things done legally, to get food, medicine into Ukraine. We have in the promotional products industry, we got clothing suppliers. So Lynka and other companies we say we can get clothing to the Ukrainians. Our brands and suppliers like, well, they're not so known over there, but Result and some others are just sending us clothing and said, here, Lynka, get it to the Ukrainians. So we got that supply chain. Nobody asked questions. They said, how much do you need? When can I send it? It was the greatest act of generosity I saw from our industry, and I'm so proud of it from that. So we've got money coming in. We got the fund. It's just starting, and today is Wednesday, and literally the website was built on Monday. So last week was the fund. This weekend was writing the website. Monday was launching the website. And Tuesday is the link for donations added to it. So it's all happening at this incredible pace with lots of volunteers, lots of people helping. And I think we've got $75,000 of pledges after 2 days. Yeah,
that's an incredible impact.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
I don't know if you can say, or if you'd even like to say, if you could, but what kind of, is it companies of all sizes, all industries?
Yes, it's sometimes some groups. So some groups did it. Some of the industry, famous players. I haven't discussed what's going to be public or not, but we're going to put their logos on this site and just say thank you publicly for the incredible generosity. I did something. I did, Facebook, social media posts. This is not some well-oiled machine with a staff. It's 4 executives doing all the work because there's nobody working for us, right? So I'm the copywriter. Dorothy's doing the vetting of the Polish charities. David De Benedetti is our attorney from New York who lives in Poland for 25 years, Polish wife, and lives there forever. He's doing all the legal review of contracts. Tony Hausch is he's from Kansas, and he's the chairman of AmCham, and he's got the best contacts with corporate America and with this. So there's 4 of us, and now we're bringing on other people to help us as it's, snowballing.
Let's
we
let's
think,
just you hit on this, John. I just want to make sure that everybody very clearly understands it. When somebody donates to this fund, that money goes where and does what? Let's just make it real clear so everybody knows.
Yeah, sure. So what's interesting in the model is that this charitable fund, which we have created, we don't touch the money. The Charities Aid Foundation, which is it's kind of a platform, yeah. So they create the legal structure. They have the bank accounts. The money goes into there under our account, because when you donate, you say we want it to go to Charities Aid Foundation. We then do legally we do advice. We say we'd like you to send $50,000 to the Red Cross or to this, but more often we're going to be sending it to not exactly brand name places. It's the people who are going to be driving supplies into Ukraine in the middle of the night, but through legal entities over here, real charities, but just ones that Americans wouldn't know. So the big guys are going to be coming in and doing their bit. This bid is the bid that's going to be helping 40 million Ukrainians, and therefore there's an unlimited need for aid. Because I said the big ticket aid just takes a long time. So the money goes into the Charities Aid Foundation, highly esteemed a charitable organization with 30-year track record, specializing in getting money to international tragedies and wars and things like that. We have a board of the four people, 4 Americans, all living in Poland, long time, all fluent in Polish, all know what's going on here. We'll be the disbursement committee. So we're vetting the companies over here to make sure it's only going to legal vetted, legitimate people. In this YPO group, we got there's some German supermarket chains like Aldi and Lidl, they're called in the States even, and it was one of them, Lidl in Poland, that it has the supply chains of food, bread, rice, stuff. It has the trucks, and it actually has the access to deliver into Ukraine. So we've got even partners who could, in a large scale, so the more money we collect, we'll be buying rice, bread, and peanut butter and stuff. We'll be getting energy bars, whatever it is they need. We'll be sending trucks in. The trucks it's like a Grisham novel. The trucks are driving at night with the lights off, so the Russian forces don't see them. And when it starts getting light, they pull off on the side of the road under a tree and hide. And then they go to the rest. It's a big, big country. Ukraine's wide. So there's this incredible network going of medical supplies and food, and we're going to be funding that. We'll be funding some of the charity organizations that are helping the refugees pouring in, because it's now 2.3 million in Poland, and they're saying 5 to 10 it could be, depending on how long this all goes. So it could be 30% of Poland's population. My town of Krakow is not even a 1 million person city, 800,000, and there's 150,000 Ukrainians already. So the volume's it's incredible. So that's what we do. So the money goes to the fund. Myself specifically, sit on the donation committee. We say money here, money here, money here. If people want to give us advice, donors want to give us advice and say we'd like this to go towards food or for this or for that. We're bringing on new charities in Poland all the time. So one of them is there's a refugee center outside of Krakow that has 350 people, and they need some support. So we'll be providing them with food and stuff. The chief rabbi of Poland is an old friend of mine, American from Brooklyn, Michael Shudrick, and I saw him at the ambassadors event a week ago. We were talking about what's going on, and I said, "What are you doing, Michael?" And he said, "Oh, we're actually we're looking to raise some funds. There's quite a number of Jewish Ukrainians who are coming over to Poland, and they're there at the border with their signs in Hebrew and helping them into the houses there." And I said, "Okay, well, maybe we can get some money from the industry to help you." And we wouldn't need all that much. I mean, I think $50,000 would help tremendously to the fundraising they're doing. So we're going to try to spread it out, but we expect the situation to be changing on the ground a lot. So the things even they needed 2 weeks ago, they're saying, we don't need this anymore. We have enough. Now we need diapers because there's, 300,000 babies in Poland now from Ukraine, and the stores have run out of diapers. So we're talking to whoever it is, Kimberly Clark or the diaper manufacturers, and say, can we buy 8 truckloads of diapers? This is wild. Yeah.
It's an incredible initiative, and for you to have and your team to have pulled it together so quickly is obviously extremely impressive. And it's just, but as you kind of alluded to, this is just the start, right? Like this, getting it going is just the start. This is going to be an ongoing effort, and who knows how long it might run for, given the situation.
Yeah, what the folks at the Charities Aid Foundation, who are just incredible professionals, I was so impressed by this. It's a young group. One of the guys, Calvin, is, I don't know, 23, just out of college doing it, and the other guy, Brooks, is more mature, very, very professional, but still young guy. They're so professional at what they do, and they told us that, donor fatigue happens. People get bored of the tragedies and stuff like that. So like Ukraine is going to be rebuilding itself for at least 10 years. It's going to need a Marshall Fund because they've done many, many, many tens of billions of dollars of damage. Now, of course, the international community, the United Nations, the countries are going to need to help, but it's still going to come down to people who don't have anywhere to move back into because their house was blown up. And we want to make sure that we keep this relevant for people. So if a peace treaty got signed, which, we pray to God that it does, it doesn't mean that the crisis is over. We're still going to have 2.5 million or 3 million Ukrainians living in Poland for the next year or 6 months who are going to need the support. So I've done giving in charity. I've volunteered my time. I came to Poland as a volunteer in 1991. I was in Philadelphia too, by the way. That's where I lived. I lived just up the street from ASI. I lived in Willow Grove, and I worked in Hatboro. And then I went to Wharton, so I then moved downtown to Philadelphia. So all pretty amazing stuff.
It's amazing stuff that you're doing, John. And John, do you just want to plug the website before we sign off here? And
yes, of course.
They can donate.
Yeah, actually, but I didn't finish my train of thought there. So I had finished my MBA at Wharton. I went to go work at a typical, financial management consulting thing, high-paid, sexy job in New York. And then the Berlin Wall fell, the Polish Solidarity moment, and the professor of mine, entrepreneurial professor Ian McMillan, called me and says, John, we want to send some American MBAs over to Europe to help get capitalism started. And I went as a volunteer in 1991. So there's not a lot of MBA volunteers back then, but we went over and now it's 30 years later, and I'm back in my hat as a volunteer again, trying to help Poland. And what was your last question again?
Oh, just John, if you just want to plug the website and let everybody know where they can go to donate.
Yes. So the best place to go to is the American Chamber of Commerce in Poland website. And then there's the tab, which will be the third tab, which is the corporate aid for Ukraine. And then we also have bought the domain CAU, corporate aid for Ukraine.org.pl for Poland. And that we bought. I don't know if the link was done yet, but it should be done by today or tomorrow. It will take you right to the AmCham page. We're going to have the letter from the U.S. ambassador endorsing it. This is clean, legit, and this money is going to be helping people a week after you transfer. Click on the send money button, and we'll be taking care of it and getting it to the Ukrainians.
All right, well, good. What an incredible initiative. John Lynch, from Lynka, of course, based in Poland, American entrepreneur, who's been there 30 years, really very close to the front lines of the conflict and doing what he can with industry partners from over here in the U.S. and elsewhere to get aid where it's needed in Ukraine. Great work, John. Thank you for chatting about it.
Thanks a lot, Chris. It's a real pleasure to talk to you. And thanks to all the ASI members for their support. I know that I already see responses on my social media posting on LinkedIn and Facebook. So we're grateful, and I'm proud of our industry.
All right, sorry, John, I was just stopping the recording. Thank you so much for jumping on
Cool.
with me. It really is really cool stuff that you're doing. We're going to get something out on it right away.
That's great. It's not your everyday promotional products story.
No, it's yeah, to say the least. These last 2 years haven't been in general, and this just could escalates it much further. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Are you from Pensy? Where are you from?
Western New Jersey, or
Oh,
originally, yeah.
Whereabouts?
Like Hunterdon County. Do you know that area?
Yeah, I know Hunter County extremely well because that's where my dad used to go fishing and stuff all the time. My dad lives in Phillipsburg. He lives in actually Stewartsville, near
Oh, yeah.
Phillipsburg on the Delaware River. So below
Yeah.
Hunterdon County.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
much our part of the world. I coach one of my
We had
son's
a
basketball teams.
cabin up at do you know Branchville?
Branchville or Branchburg?
I think Branchville. I think it's way. There's Larson's Turkey Farm on the way up there.
Okay.
It used to be, and then all the way up in Stoke State Forest. That's where we used to hang out. Okay. All right, Chris. Great. Thank you so much for doing this. So I didn't have to write you an email, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. All the best, John. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
All right. Bye-bye.